Alistair Nicholson is the CEO of the Australian Cricketers Association. He can explain more. He joins us now from Melbourne. Alistair, will players be boycotting the Ashes?
Well, I certainly hope not, Scott. Everyone wants to play in the Ashes, and the players certainly don't want to be in dispute. But the reality is, if common sense doesn't prevail here, things are going to continue to escalate. And that's actually why we've called for an independent mediator to come in and help get through this impasse, because that's not something we want.
So it's gotten to a point where the player body, yourselves and Cricket Australia, can't reach a resolution together. You need someone else to come in and facilitate.
Well, we think that's appropriate. We're 6 weeks away from the expiry of this deal. We've been negotiating this for 7 months. So to get through this key impasse, we think that's appropriate in how the negotiations have been going.
Alistair, how has it gotten to this point?
Well, the key issue here is around partnership. Players have always seen themselves as partners in the game, and that's represented through a revenue sharing model. Cricket Australia is looking to break that model. Players believe that the model's worked. Cricket is in as good a position it's ever been and want to see it continue. They're not asking for anything more. And so that's the key issue around the revenue sharing model and the partnership of the players.
Just explain a bit more for us on that, for those that haven't followed the ins and outs of the discussions. The revenue sharing model, what exactly is it? How does it work at present, and what are you asking for?
So the revenue sharing model is something that insulates the games against the ups and downs. So if the game goes down financially, then the players' pay goes down. If the game goes up, then the players go up with that. So it's basically a partnership model where the players share in the game. So that's something that, with the volatility in international cricket through India, or potentially some hard times in the broadcast landscape going forward, it means that the game is insulated against too high player payments, but also incentivises the players to try and grow the game.
Is it as simple that if the revenue sharing model that you're looking for isn't agreed to, a strike is on the cards?
Well, it's very hard to strike when you're unemployed. Cricket Australia's threatened the players by saying that if an MOU is not agreed by June 30, they're not going to be contracting or paying those players. So a strike's very hard when you're unemployed, and that's why we've called for an independent mediator to try and break this impasse.
Would you support then, if the players are unemployed, for them to seek employment overseas in the lucrative 2020 competitions right around the world, aside from the Indian Premier League? Would you support that they look elsewhere?
Well, our main focus now in the next 6 weeks is trying to get to a resolution of this. And so we're doing that day by day. So that's our main focus at the moment. And subsequent to that, that's something we'll have to work through with the player group at the appropriate time.
What makes you think, if you haven't been able to get the deal done within 7 months, that you can now in the coming 6 weeks?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think bringing in a third party can potentially push through that key impasse. I think the reality of post-June 30 world is not having cricketers really clear on what their contract status is. It also brings in lots of other elements around commercial partners of the game, and then preparation for subsequent test series. So there's a lot that can happen post June 30, which is not necessarily good for the game, and we're very keen to try and get to a resolution before then.
And Alistair, just finally, for players who might be on a multi-year contract with their state organisations, what will it mean for them if the deal isn't reached by June 30? I guess technically they're still employed by their state body. Does that mean if international players aren't required or are off duty, that they could be called upon to represent their country?
Well, that's something that we'll have to deal with post-June 30. And at the moment, our focus is trying to get to a resolution around the key issue of revenue sharing. But that's something we'll continue to discuss with our players as that gets closer to the date.
Appreciate you joining us this morning. Hopefully we can talk once a resolution has been reached.
Thanks, Scott.